in fall of last year, we were approached by a couple of our members in Surrey who were facing an issue where the city council wanted to evict a couple hundred people from a neighborhood called Clayton Heights. And this came as quite a surprise to a lot of the people who were living there. They received letters telling them that they had to evict their tenants by January 31st. And they started talking to each other, and they started planning what could we possibly do to prevent this from happening, because you're asking hundreds of people to find housing with less than 1% vacancy rates. You're asking hundreds of people to pick up and relocate their families in the middle of winter, where they may or may not find another place to live. And they were outraged, as anyone should be. And so they were quite well organized from the get-go. They were able to get t-shirts made. They were able to organize themselves to go to a city council meeting. And they were able to ask that this not go forward. They wanted the city council to step in and to legalize their suites, because the city council was basically saying there's a number of illegal suites that are being occupied, and there's a parking issue. We've had hundreds of complaints around parking, and so you need to go. That was the other outrageous factor. It wasn't about safety in the suites. There's no fire hazards. It was parking. And so they go to the city council meeting, and the city council does not respond with their demands. And so they're like, we need to do something to escalate. And so their group comes together and they decide they want to plan a rally. And this is where we step in, because I got a message from our members saying, we've never planned a rally before. What do we do? And so we started talking with them and helping them develop their materials, their messaging, who was going to speak, did they have media contacts, and they were amazing. They were very cohesive, and they were also very on the ball, and they had great people there to speak. They managed to find tenants, homeowners, all different voices. And so they held a rally in November, very cold. They had about 100 people come out to the Surrey City Hall to say enough is enough. This isn't right, and you can't just put people out on the streets in the middle of winter because people are having a hard time finding a place to park their car. And I think, what's really important here is they weren't just talking about homeowners who, wanted to keep their tenants, but these are people who were women fleeing violent relationships, who weren't sure where they would be able to go, people with families whose kids go to schools in that neighborhood who weren't sure where they could go, but also to pick up your kid and move them to a different school is just outrageous. Like, that's not something you should feel like you have to do just on a whim. And so they held this rally, and at the next city council meeting, we all organized, we went there, big group, and the city council said, okay, we'll put a moratorium on the evictions. We'll stop the evictions. You will not be asked to leave by January 31st. But that's only for 6 months. They said they were going to revisit it in the summer and see what they could do. And so while this community was able to achieve this great victory of being able to stay in their homes for another half year, it's not forever. And they're going to have to continue those conversations and continue to put pressure on that city council to legalize their suites, to find ways for folks to actually get to a house or another place where they can live if they can't continue to stay in that suite, and to not displace a mass amount of people just because they've decided that this is the solution to one problem. And to me, the heart of that message is a home is more than just four walls. And the premise of the plan and the campaign that we've put forward is that housing isn't an investment, it's a home. And the neighborhoods that we live in aren't just individual isolated homes. We have to build those relationships with each other, and we have to build that power within our communities to actually keep not only the communities that we have, but to improve them.